All right, we've got Tristan Gaga-a for episode 4 of Diary of a Mortgage Broker. Welcome, mate.
Hey Jordan, good to have a chat, man.
Mate, it's so good to have you on. You've gone from, I'm trying to frame this right, from saving lives to saving deals. Tell us, mate.
That's
Tell
it.
us.
That's it. So I basically went from being an ICU critical care nurse to mortgage brokerage. I was a nurse for about 5 years before deciding to pull the trigger and make the move into financial services.
This is so awesome. I love it so much. I love it so much. It's the most interesting. I'm so excited for this podcast, for this episode, because I think you're just an interesting person. So, first question, why?
So I've always been super interested in running my own business. I actually run my own photo booth company for like 3 or 4 years. That's where I learned how to do marketing. I learned how to shoot videos, and I learned how to kind of manage customer expectations and deliver service. And then I also helped a mate launch an AI startup over in the UK and got familiar with messing around with CRMs and kind of doing a little bit more marketing stuff. And I was like, this is so fun. This is so amazing. This is so freeing. And I was like, I want to do something for myself where I'm able to help other people and get to mess around with kind of my own marketing and sales kind of stuff. And I reached out to a mortgage broker that I knew and I said, hey, I'd like to have a chat. I'd like to sit in and kind of hang out. And the rest has been history. But looking back now, I actually realized that a lot of the times I was actually the person that my friends were coming to. So a lot of nurses, a lot of sort of hospital workers would be coming to me to have a chat about loans. I bought my first home when I was 21 for context, and that's probably why I was the person to sort of have a chat to when it comes to structuring loans and grants and all that stuff. So it all kind of, yeah, fell into place where all of these different experiences that I had kind of came to fruition and kind of resulted in me becoming a mortgage broker.
Wow, man. That is awesome. And I'm starting to see, or I can see now, the correlation between ER and mortgage brokering, saving lives and helping people. It's the same, not the same thing at all, definitely not. But you're helping people, right? You're a helper, and that's sort of kind of the misconception of people. What people think mortgage brokers, they think, oh, finance, oh, rich person, just snake oil. That's no, I don't think everyone thinks that, but because I love mortgage brokers, hence why I'm doing this podcast. But there's obviously misconceptions out there because it's in banking, right? I've worked in banking. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're a dirty banker." I'm like, "Bro, I'm a nice guy. I promise." And so it's really cool to see you've got this nurse, an ER, who has been in stressful situations for 5 years, saving people's lives, and then you're going into a finance-related business, but you're still customer facing, you're customer helping, and you're there in the journey. So clearly there's a correlation between the two. There has to be.
100%. And I think that's why when it came to niching down and actually figuring out who I want to help, I actually really drilled down on first home buying nurses. I was like, I've been there. I know you're stressed. I know you're overworked. And I understand how difficult it is to actually, figure out how to buy your first home. Let me guide you through that. Let me be the person that I wish was there when I was going through it. So it's nice that I get to kind of hold that role now as a broker.
Okay, that is awesome. I didn't know that about you. So you're niching into, or you have niched, or you are niching, or whatever, into nursing for brokerage for nurses.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So all of my social media content, all the ads that I'm going to be running are all 100% nursing focused.
That is brilliant. I love this. I love this so much. I've got a police broker contact
Nice.
of mine. Yeah, so he's a broker for coppers, and now I know a broker for nurses. This is great. So okay, what's the name of the business and the socials? Where can they find it to start with?
Yeah, so I'm trading at Tristan.loans. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and I'm posting there 5 days a week. doing breakdowns of properties that are affordable for first home buying nurses, and kind of going through the different grants and basically demystifying the whole home buying situation for first home buyers.
This is absolutely brilliant. This is absolutely, it's so necessary. It's so necessary. I don't know how many times I've seen it on investor podcasts and videos and whatnot, where you've got emergency services or medical practice fields, paramedics, doctors, you name it, and they know so much about their craft because they have to be entrenched in it that they wouldn't know where to start with a home loan. They wouldn't know where to start with budgeting. They wouldn't know, you would think, oh, hang on, but you have to be an intelligent person to be in this field. How do you not know this thing? But it's because they're just so entrenched in this thing, and they haven't really explored it. I'm guessing.
100%. I found that. No. I found that when I was in the hospital, actually, it's kind of, you've got your hospital brain, and that hospital brain kind of comes with you even when you're out of hospital. Like, you're not necessarily thinking about, what's going on from a financial point of view. You're just like, I want to get better at helping patients. I want to get better at helping people. So when you're off the tool, so to speak, you're still doing research on, what the best practice is, or what medications work for this, or how do I manage this? And so, yeah, all of your energy is really put towards the patient, and you find that you kind of inadvertently actually disregard yourself in some aspects, And I find that the first thing that tends to go is basically the home buying self-care stuff, and nurses, healthcare workers are notorious for being horrible at self-care stuff. So it's nice to be able to put my hat in the ring and say, hey, I can help you out with one of those things.
They would love you. They would absolutely love you because you've got the best of both worlds, Miley Cyrus, and you're able to speak their language and also offer that help. Yeah,
100%. And I think that's the other thing that I noticed too, being a nurse and sort of having lots of mates who are nurses. A lot of the feedback that I got is that it's difficult to connect with nurses, or it's difficult to kind of have those healthcare chats and kind of try to merge it together with a finance chat. My partner is actually a financial planner, and so she finds when she talks to my nursing mates that there's like nothing, like she cannot understand what's going on. And so when I became a broker, I found that I'm able to bridge that gap where I can speak healthcare, but I also understand finance. And so it's Miley Cyrus, man. It's the best of both worlds.
Mate, I love this. This is just awesome. Okay, so the biggest question I would have, and 1 second, I'm going to check I'm on the right microphone. I am. Phew. Can you imagine if I was like, the microphone that's so far away from my desk, and I listen back to this recording and I feel like it's a hollow tin, and I thought, oh my gosh, I've wasted this whole podcast. Anyway, no need to worry. So, biggest question, mortgage brokering can be a stressful job, especially when it comes time to, you come close to settlement, conveyancers stressing out, customers stressing out, you're stressing out, something's gone wrong in the process. Now, you would think that saving lives would be a lot more stressful. So how do you apply that stress to mortgage brokering? Like, so for instance, is it a different kind of stress? Is it not stressful for you at all because you have that perspective of we're not saving lives here?
It's funny you say that because they are both stressful in their own right. But I think my experience in sort of critical care actually equipped me with a lot of skills in order to cope with stressful situations, and being sort of face to face with those really high pressure situations has made me pretty used to these things. So yes, there are very, very stressful times in mortgage broking, like you mentioned, coming up to settlements or things with valuations going wrong. It's super, super high pressure. But I think because I've experienced pressure in a different context, it's equipped me really well to deal with those challenges. And I think the other thing as well, actually, is it's been really, really, really helpful to have a mentor with significant experience in the industry just sitting right by me, so I can tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, this is what's going on, this is how I'm feeling, this is what's happening, and just debriefing and kind of working through it right then and there, rather than letting that stressful situation fester and build up down the line.
Yeah, that's an important piece, isn't it? And Is it my understanding that mortgage brokers have to have some kind of mentor or be under some license or something for a period of time? Is that right?
That's right. So
Yeah.
any new to industry broker will need to undergo a 2-year mentorship program before getting signed off and being able to start their own brokerage. Or rather, you can start your own brokerage, but you need to be working under a mentor. And that's just to make sure that the deals that you're popping through and the credit advice that you're giving people is all above board and it's working towards their best interest.
Yeah, right. Awesome. Um, Normally I ask, what's a crazy story you've got as a mortgage broker, but that would not compare to what you see in the ICU, right? But you're welcome to answer that question in both contexts, whether it be ICU or mortgage brokering. But have you had any weird or wacky circumstances?
Yeah, so with my mortgage brokering hat on, the other week actually, I had a situation where a client had gone out to purchase a property. We got her pre-approved and everything. Everything looked really, really good. Contract of sale was signed, and then we sent the property off for evaluation at the bank. And the valuation that we got back was $100,000 short from what she had signed for. And this
Nice.
was unprecedented. I spoke to my mentor, I spoke to other brokers in the industry, I spoke to different bank managers and also the credit assessor that was working on the file. And all of them were like, in the years that I've been working in this industry, never come across like $100,000 discrepancy
Wow.
is crazy. I think at most it'll be, 20, 30 grand, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
But 100K, yeah, had definitely had some fires to put out in terms of managing client
Yeah.
expectations there. But we got through it at the end of the day. And yeah, I'm just glad that it wasn't just a surprise for me, it was a surprise for everybody.
Yeah, of course, of course. You were the lucky one though. You copped it. That's great.
Yeah. It's like a little
Um,
feather in my hat.
yeah, I reckon that's a rite of passage, surely. Um, so you got the loan over the line.
Yeah, yeah, we managed to do it, rejig a couple things, and the client, banks, everyone was happy, so that was good.
Come on, man. That's fantastic. That is fantastic. So obviously you got a happy customer now, happy client now. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, massive referrer now.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
That's fantastic. Wow. 100,000 discrepancy. That's pretty awesome. And then for you to be able to turn that around, obviously we don't need to know the details, but for you to be able to turn that around, that's incredible. Of course they're going to be just over the moon. Awesome, man. That's a pretty good story. What did I have recently? I had a pretty good story recently. Oh yeah, you want to hear another story? Another broker
yeah,
told me.
let's go.
Yeah, it's on the podcast. He funded for a single mom, or no, sorry, single lady, good income, great house. They did a refi equity release for a African 4 day some kind of party in Africa, massive thing. Anyway, it was really interesting. The detail he went into it, I'm like, wow, that is sick. You wouldn't get that every day, but yeah, that's it.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I was like, is there more to the story?
yeah. I noticed you're waiting for more, and I'm like, no, I'm finished. Oh man, okay. Remind me never to tell you a story again. Whew. No, that's
I was
great,
like,
man. That's great.
what's the punchline? What's the punchline?
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, the punchline was in my head. I just couldn't get it out of my mouth. So that's good. Anyway, let's move along. All right. So, mortgage broker for nurses. Surely you would have no issue getting loans, getting jobs, right? Getting referrals because you've got a whole pool of network that you've got there, right? So how do you go about your marketing? You said you're going to do some ads. You got the TikToks. Obviously, word of mouth is massive for brokers. Kind of, what's your main bread and butter, I suppose?
Yeah, so every now and then, I just take a little stroll around the hospital, bump into a couple familiar
Yeah.
faces, and just say, "Hey, this is what I've been up to. I'm not in uniform." Da 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 da. And one conversation just leads to another. Before you know it, you've got another client, which is really cool.
Mate, that is fantastic. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll be happy seeing you, mate. You got the biggest smile. They'll be so relieved to go, oh, Tristan's here. Let's have a good chat.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's one of the things that ends up happening is with my client calls, we schedule them for like, 30-minute blocks, and before you know it, we're chewing each other's ear off, and it's like an hour down the line.
Mate, you look like a man who loves his job and loves his life.
I really do, man. I really do. I think
Yeah.
I'm really lucky to be in a position where I wake up every day and I get to build up my own business. And as a byproduct of that, I'm helping other people like myself achieve their
Mm,
dreams. And I think
mm,
there's something really powerful in that. As a nurse, and especially as an ICU nurse, you get a lot of satisfaction from like helping people, consoling families, and guiding them through really uncertain situations, and watching them kind of get better from there. And I feel like sometimes, especially in finance, it's difficult to find that, I guess, that goodness or that thing that feeds your soul. But I think in me choosing to help nurses, I'm really able to do that in a selfish way. I'm able to kind of tick that off for myself, and it really feeds my soul, and it makes me want to help more and more.
that is beautiful. That is beautiful. So, let's learn a little bit about more about you, man. So you got a partner. She's a financial advisor. Was that right?
Yeah, or she's a
Nice.
power planner, so she's doing her master's to get into financial advice.
Power planner. Is that? Did I
Para
hear that right?
planner. A para planner, kind of like a parachuter, but it's a para planner. So she basically does the paperwork and the implementation that financial advisors kind of give to their
Nice.
clients. Yeah,
Nice. Oh, awesome. And how long you guys been together for?
probably close to 3 years now.
Nice. Very cool. Did
Yeah,
you
it's
could did you
really
did go ahead.
no, no, no. You go first.
Yeah, so did you meet in the ICU? You locked eyes over someone having a heart attack, and you
No,
thought this
no,
is the
no,
one for
no.
me, or no?
Nah, not quite like that. Not quite like that. It's a little bit more
Shouldn't
organic.
laugh about that. Yeah.
But you know what? She actually played a big role in introducing me to my mentor, who
Wow.
I coincidentally, or actually, she shared an office space with him when she was working at one of her old jobs. And yeah, that's kind of how that relationship developed. So I'm like, crazy. It's crazy how these things
Amazing,
work,
man.
man. Yeah. But it's also really cool that she's in the financial services space too, right? Because her job really emphasizes kind of the importance of super and structuring trusts and sort of the more complicated side of, I guess, finances. And it makes it really, really handy when I have clients who have their own self-managed supers or have complex trust structures in place, just to have basically a financial advisor that I can call and be like, hey, what would I do in this
100%.
situation? Or what does this look like? Which is really, really handy.
That is so good. That is so good. And obviously, you two just be a power couple, being able to just refer business to each other, all that sort of stuff too. It's really good.
Yeah. No, it's a lot
Awesome.
of fun, and it's really handy. Yeah.
Fantastic, man. Fantastic. How old are you?
I am 27.
Screw you. I used to be young. I'm 30 now, and when
Nah,
I was
that's not
27,
that's yeah.
nah, I'm an old man now. Because everyone's like, I've got my team. They're all early 20s, and they're like, "Oh, gee, when I get to your age," I'm like, "What do you mean? When do you get to my age? Shut up!" Like, and
Nah, and
no, that's
30 is the new 20, isn't it? 30 is the new 20.
oh my gosh, you're killing me. I'm going grey just thinking about it. And everyone else listening to this who's over 30 is telling me to shut up too. Um, that's good, man. So by 27, I guess by now you had your first home at 21. Have you got a couple of houses now, or you
I
focused on?
actually focused on the one
Yeah,
and pursued running a business rather than actually jumping
great,
into properties. Yeah.
great, great. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's almost one or the other, isn't it? Like you have your to get your property portfolio. Most people would be keeping their income so that they can service the next property and the next property and value increase, equity release, blah blah blah. Or throw it all up and start a business. It's
100%.
you know,
Yeah, I took the
yeah,
latter route. I took the latter route.
that's good, man. That's so
But yeah,
good.
it actually took a lot of sort of like reflective time and really mulling over what my goals were, sort of long term, and what would actually suit where I want to be in the future. Because I was literally on the cusp of getting the next property. Everything had been kind of lined up, and I was like, all right, let's just slow down a little bit and think about what this is going to mean moving forward. And yeah, ultimately made the choice to pursue business ownership just at the present moment. But the next
Mm,
investment property will be in the works.
that's great, man. You'd be able to write your own loan too. That's helpful. Can you do that? Is that allowed?
Yeah, there are some lenders that will allow us to do that, although a majority of them put a lot of red tape around that.
Yeah, of
There
course.
are some lenders who are like, yeah, go crazy.
Yeah,
Doesn't make a
that's
difference
cool.
to us as long as you're as long as you're paying. Doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, 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 of course. So Tristan, 20, 30 years from now, so 57 years old, that's 30 years. Are you still a broker?
I'd like to think so. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm
cool.
definitely in it for the long haul. I think where I want to be in 30 years' time is to have established a brokerage where I have a little bit more of a hands-off role. I think I'd really like to maintain the client-facing side of things, but in terms of the actual loan writing and I guess the more admin side of stuff, I'd like to have that covered by brokers under my
Yeah,
own wing. I'd
yeah,
love
yeah.
to be sharing my experiences and sort of the tricks of the trade to the new, upcoming breed of brokers, and helping them grow their own businesses. And yeah, I think that's where I want to be in the future.
I love it. I love it. So, how long have you been writing loans for now?
I'm coming up to about 8 months or so
Beautiful,
since
beautiful,
I peeled off.
beautiful. So you've 8 months of writing loans. That first 2 year period is obviously the hardest grind, right? So how have
100%.
you? Yeah, yeah. How have you found it? Especially, I don't know if you kind of been thinking about how economy in Australia has been coming off the back of high interest rates, high inflation, starting to get somewhere idea of stability, but the prices can keep climbing. How are you finding navigating through that? And where do you think it's heading?
I think it can be really discouraging. There are a lot of first home buyers who have heard the news of the changes to the first home guarantee scheme, which came into play on the 1st of October. And they're seeing, income caps being removed. They're seeing price caps on properties going a lot higher than they were before. And they're anticipating that a lot of house prices are going to get pushed up out of their reach. And while I agree that property prices are going to go up as a result of this increase in, I guess, the market size, and you'll have more competition from other first home buyers, I still think if you get your stuff sorted early, you can negotiate terms that are going to be favorable for your purchase. And if you're willing to put in a little bit of work to kind of dig through all of the dirt to find the diamonds, those deals, like, first home buyer deals are out there and they're not impossible to find.
Yeah, that's beautiful, mate. That is a beautiful glimmer of hope right there. I love that. Um, oh, I had a question, but I'll just ask this one instead. If you were to give yourself advice, go back 8 months, just before or just before you were starting, what advice or key lessons would you give your past self?
I would say I would tell myself to get started in terms of building your pipeline a lot earlier than you think that you would. So you mentioned earlier that the first 2 years of a new to industry broker's career are very testing and very tough. And 100% you're on the ball there. It is very challenging, but I think if you sort of manage your own expectations and kind of prepare yourself for how difficult that is. And by prepare yourself, I mean by having an adequate cash buffer to make sure that you can actually pay for all the stuff that you're kind of, needing to pay for. And having a really clear plan about how you're going to attract and manage clients moving forward, it makes it so easy. But yeah, the thing that I would tell myself 8 months ago is there's no time like the present to start developing your pipeline and to start getting people on board and saying, hey, I'm going to be a broker in a few months. Let's circle around and have a conversation when I do finish my qualifications. Because I think that was the one thing for me was I didn't want to engage in conversations without first having finished all of my calls. And looking back now, I should have just thrown it out there and kind of put it out into the universe,
100%. I love that, man. And I don't claim to know really much about business, if anything. But what I hear from most people is it's all 90% prospecting, and you work the rest out, right? It's 90% putting yourself out there, and then you work the rest out, or it works itself out. And yeah.
100%. And I think having the right team behind you is massive as well. I think the earlier you can put your hand up and say, hey, I am not actually a business owner, or I'm not actually a marketing expert, or I'm not actually a sales guru, the earlier you can sort of identify that and reach out for help in those regards, the faster everything happens. Like the ability to leverage another person's mistakes and their learnings compounds and like just makes the time for you to achieve your goals a lot quicker.
So the dream, the American dream is like to start a business, right? And the Australian dream, I think it's always been buy a home or own a home, right?
Own your home. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So is it still the Australian dream today, do you think?
I think so. I think it's a little bit bleak and dreary with a lot of investors coming into Victoria, especially since they're seeing good value properties coming up for sale compared to other places in Australia. But I think deep down, everyone who is renting hates the fact that they're paying off someone else's mortgage and they're not building their own equity, hates the fact that they've got to prep the house for inspections every other month, and just the idea of not having a place to call your own, I think, is the thing that actually makes people want to go out and buy their own home. And I still do think that is the Australian dream.
That's awesome, man. Do you think, like, let's say, the idea that property prices double, I'm just random questions thrown at you now, just for fun. Property prices double every 10 years. That's the I suppose the general concept. But if you look back 100 years worth of property valuations, there's been a few more doublings in there, especially in certain areas.
Yeah, 100%.
So if prices keep going out, like climbing, affordability would be harder, getting a loan would be harder. Do you see like the concept of more partial loans? What's the word for that? Where multiple people jump on a loan to reach serviceability?
Yeah, where you just have joint borrowers. And I think that could definitely be an option moving forward. But what that does is it introduces the complexity of sort of joint titles and looking at liabilities and incomes that are sort of coming from two people. So I guess it's a bit of a double-edged sword wherein, yes, you can get into the property market by doing that, but you're also only halfway in the door, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Then that leads. That's a good point. There's a scheme the government has. Brokers don't have access to this scheme. It's the government share house thing. So the government will buy a share of your house or something like that. What are your thoughts on that one? Do you know much about that one?
Yeah, so it's basically a scheme where the government chips in anywhere from around 20 to 40% of value into your home, and as a result they own 20 to 40 or whatever they put into your home. That percentage of equity is owned by them. So it was previously called the the Help to Buy program or something like
That's
that, but
right.
they've
That's
changed the
right.
name slightly.
Yeah.
Or the Home Equity Fund is what it used to be called, and now I think it's the Help to Buy. They just
Yeah.
keep changing the names every couple of years. Honestly, I don't like it, man. I think that if you are looking at using your home as an investment vehicle or as something that's going to help generate wealth moving forward, it's probably not the product for you. But if you have no interest whatsoever in, I guess, using your home to buy investment properties or using your home as a vehicle to grow your wealth, then 1,000,000%. I think it's something that's really worth considering because the benefits of having the government own a portion of your home is that the repayments that you actually have to make are only going to be, 75% of what they normally would be because the government obviously has paid off, X amount of the loan. So it's really handy for people who just want a single home, simple, like they don't want to complicate
Yeah.
things. I think it's really good for them to consider that scheme. For anyone else who might be wanting to, spice things up a little bit with investment properties or other ways of growing their wealth, then yeah, probably wouldn't work in my
Yeah.
eyes, at least.
Yeah, yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that also they take a percentage of the capital gains too, right? So it
That's
goes up in
correct.
value, and they take their chunk from that too, which might be an interesting prospect for the government. Maybe not for the buyer.
100%. And I think one of the good things though is that they do offer a little bit of a caveat. So yes, they own, 20% to 40, but whatever it is of your property. But I believe at any stage throughout your ownership of the property, there's an option to actually buy out the government share. So if you find yourself in a position where your income has increased or rates have dropped or the value of the property has hit a certain amount, then you can actually just refinance the government out of it. So there is that opportunity there, but like you've mentioned, you need to pay out the exact
Yeah,
value that the government
that
owns
would
in your house.
that would stink. Go to a
Actually, it
broker
helps out
instead.
a. It's funny because like I've had a couple clients who were actually very interested in accessing schemes like the Help to Buy in particular. Yeah, they came to me. We did the preliminary assessment, and I said, "Yep, you're good to go. Like, go to the bank." Like, I actually directed them straight to the bank
So you
after sort of doing the
that's cool.
pre-vetting. Yeah, I was just like,
So
I want to help you out, man.
yeah, see, that's you can see that you're a helper. That is what you are. You're a helper because a lot of brokers wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole because they're not going to get
No,
anything
they'd
from
say
it.
no.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think for
good on
me,
you,
it's
man.
more important that that I'm helping the people that I'm helping my people, man. Like that's ultimately what I want to achieve at the end of the day. And the other case was actually, or the other client, I should say, was helping them buy back their share from the government. So
Very
that
good.
was a cool experience, kind of navigating how to speak with the tax people in order to get valuations done and what hoops need to be jumped through in order to actually buy back their percentage from the government. That was super cool. Yeah.
Man, that is great. That is lovely. Mate, it's been 34 minutes. We better wrap this up. Anything you want to say, ask before we finish up? I've really enjoyed this, man. This has been great.
100%. No, I think we're pretty good. I think we covered a lot of
Yeah,
bases today. I just
yeah.
wanted to say thank you for reaching out and inviting me on the show. And I hope that this
Mate,
keeps
it's
going.
my
And
honor. Yeah.
sometime in the future, we'll circle back and we'll touch base on what's going on and how both of our
100%.
things are going.
Mate, 100%. We've got to get you back on when a new royal commission comes in, or so, or some new wave has shocked the system, and I'll be like, Tristan, back on. And yeah, that's great, man. No, I love what you do. I love that you help people, especially in the nursing industry, and I think that you fulfill such a big need that so many brokers can't do simply because they just can't understand or speak the language. So I think it's awesome. And so I'll make sure that your socials and everything are in the description of the podcast. But again, it's Tristan dot loan.
Hmm.
Beautiful.
Tristan
Beautiful.
Loans, yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks so much. And yeah, talk soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Jordan.